In today's video, we're talking all about RH. Now, as much as I would love to have a $30,000 chandelier from Restoration Hardware, the RH we're talking about today is Richmond Heights. Beautiful part of St. Louis if you're moving to St. Louis or if you already live here, just wondering more about the Richmond Heights area. We're talking all about that in this video. Now, Richmond Heights is a very beautiful, very charming part of St. Louis. And the nice thing is that you are right in between St. Louis City and St. Louis County. So Richmond Heights is completely part of St. Louis County, but you're right on the border with St. Louis City. If you're someone who wants aspects of that city charm, that city living, but you want to be in the suburbs and you have, certain things you like about living in that suburban area, you're going to find that in Richmond Heights. It kind of appeals to both sides of the coin. So you got a lot of great stuff going on in Richmond Heights. Now, the one thing with Richmond Heights is that it is an older part of town. So it's not this area where you're going to see a ton of new construction going on. You'll see these older, kind of charming, historic homes. You'll see a lot of that in St. Louis City for sure. And you'll see some of that too in areas like Clayton, University City, Ladue. So Richmond Heights kind of has that blend of areas of the county and areas of the city. And you'll see some areas that look very St. Louis County and some neighborhoods that look like South City. So it is a very nice mix. And hey, by the way, if you're moving to Richmond Heights or somewhere else in St. Louis, my team and I are practicing realtors. That is why we make these videos. We'd love to help you with that move. If you want, send us an email, send us a text. That is what we're here for. Now, Richmond Heights, it's next to Clayton, next to Ladue, St. Louis City, Maplewood. You will see kind of these different elements of all those areas in Richmond Heights. Now, one thing you might hear about with Richmond Heights is Maplewood. Some people kind of lump them together because they do share a school system. Richmond Heights is a little bit bigger. Maplewood is a little bit smaller, and they're separate towns, don't get me wrong, but people will talk about them together. And if you're moving to one, you might be looking at the other. So if you like Richmond Heights, you might explore some areas in Maplewood or maybe some Brentwood neighborhoods too, because again, you will see some commonalities between these. I consider it a suburb because it's part of St. Louis County, but you will see some very city neighborhoods in Richmond Heights. You have some neighborhoods that are very high end, bigger houses, bigger pieces of land that look more Clayton or Ladue. So you have some of these very historic upscale neighborhoods, Lake Forest, Hampton Park, Berkshire. You will see these bigger kind of stately homes, way bigger piece of land. They will have big backyards, pool in the ground, and you might be looking at prices, upwards of $900,000 up to $2.5, $3 million for these higher end neighborhoods in Richmond Heights. And you'll see some that are smaller, more reasonable in price, smaller homes closer together that look more like these city style gingerbread bungalows in Richmond Heights. Technically, the Richmond Heights zip code is 63117, and currently the median selling price in there is right in the high 400s, so about 475. But it's kind of misleading because you have one part of Richmond Heights, which are these bigger, higher end neighborhoods, and then another part of Richmond Heights, which is the majority of these smaller neighborhoods, more reasonable in price, where looking between $200,000 and $400,000 is definitely reasonable. You have some slivers of Richmond Heights that are Ladue schools, and that's where you will see these higher end neighborhoods, more expensive homes there. And then the rest, if you're in the Richmond Heights and Maplewood School District, is where you will see more of these very like Richmond Heights neighborhoods. It's not going to look as much like these Clayton homes or these Ladue homes. Richmond Heights has some options for some condos, apartments. It's not all just single family homes. So you have a lot of variety, and you're also very central to I-64, I-44, 170. They're all, very accessible if you live in Richmond Heights, and that's the thing. You're very central in St. Louis County. You're close to downtown St. Louis. You're close to Central West End, Lafayette Square, Soulard, like all of these very fun city neighborhoods. And if you want to go out west towards Town and Country, Chesterfield, again, it's not super far away because Richmond Heights is very central, like right in the middle of the whole St. Louis area. You're right next to Forest Park. You're down the street from the Galleria, which is a huge shopping area as well. So that's what I mean when I say you are technically in St. Louis County, but you're on the edge with the county and the city. So you kind of get the benefits of both sides. And then surrounding the Galleria, you have a ton of other commercial space, shopping, strip malls, all sorts of stuff, kind of right in between Richmond Heights and Brentwood. So right in that area along South Hanley, South Brentwood Boulevard, you have a ton of commercial space. So, running errands at Target, going to the Galleria to get stuff done. There's a bunch of stuff nearby. The Best Buy, I think the one in Brentwood right there is like the biggest and the best one in the St. Louis area. So I'm there all the time getting stuff for my office or computer stuff. You got a lot of shopping right there. So it's very central, very convenient for running errands. Now, Richmond Heights is an older part of town for the most part. So you will see, a lot of these older homes, more historic. They've got, some of those quirks, that character, that charm, if you're looking for that. You're not going to see a ton of new construction like you will in Chesterfield, further out west, certainly O'Fallon, Wentzville, Lake St. Louis. One new construction area I do want to mention is Gateway Heights. So that is brand new. It is very close to the highway, I will say, but Gateway Heights is this townhome collection by Fischer Homes. Exactly the same as Wild Horse Village. If you've seen any of the videos on Chesterfield, Wild Horse Village is a huge development. Those townhomes, exact same thing, but better pricing in Richmond Heights compared to Chesterfield. So, same townhomes basically, different location, same finishes, same options, and these are further along in the construction process. So I at least have videos to show you of what they look like right now, whereas in Chesterfield, they're not finished yet. So Gateway Heights has the display home open. You can get in there, you can see what it feels like, what it looks like, and that's one great thing about this community. But I would say that's more of the exception than the norm in Richmond Heights. For the most part, you're looking at these older homes, whether they have that, Ladue, Clayton style, like the bigger stately homes, or they have that South City gingerbread style. You will see older places in Richmond Heights. Now, safety is one thing that we get asked a lot about with some of these areas that are closer to St. Louis City. Now, this is not me trying to steer you because we can't give opinions on crime as realtors. Now, niche.com gives Richmond Heights a C for crime and safety. If you read the Facebook comments, Reddit posts, like people will tell you, lock your doors, common sense, especially if you're parking on the street, as opposed to in a garage or some kind of covered parking spot for some of the apartments or the condos here. A lot of these neighborhoods have street parking. So with that, just think about it. Just people have said stuff in all areas of St. Louis. It's a more urban area. There's more stuff going on depending on if you live on a busy street or not. Same thing, in either case, I would just say drive through at night if you are not sure about an area. Drive through, walk around during the day, stop by at night if it changes your perception, or if you feel pretty good about it during the day and at night, just be smart about it. People will tell you lock your doors, especially if you're parking on the street. That goes for anywhere, not just, the city neighborhoods, not just the suburbs. Like if you're leaving your car outside, lock it, please. And if you're not just looking in Richmond Heights, maybe you're thinking about expanding your search radius, you could stick with an area like Brentwood, Maplewood that are going to be similar, or you could choose to go further towards Ladue, Clayton, or you could choose to go into the city, Central West End, Dogtown, Tower Grove. Again, like you got a lot of stuff to choose from, and you're very close to a bunch of other neighborhoods in the city and suburbs of St. Louis County. And again, like I said, it's not ridiculous with price. Outside of a couple of neighborhoods that are higher end in Richmond Heights, most areas are, it's pretty reasonable to see stuff between $200 and $450 in a lot of these areas. Cute homes, very charming, especially if they've been renovated, they've been updated, or at least well maintained. You do have a lot more of these older homes, but if they're in great shape, that's a great bonus of living in Richmond Heights. If you get an area where you're in a great neighborhood, historic homes, but well maintained, so you have that character, you have that charm, but not the headache of having an older house that has some of those issues sometimes. Because we see that in the city, we see that in parts of, the suburbs where you have an old house, if it needs a gut rehab, if the roof's falling apart, if, we're having issues with the sewer, any stuff like that. But there's a ton of beautiful stuff to choose from. So what's not to love about Richmond Heights? So again, if you're moving to the area, if you want some help with that process, buying a house, buying a condo, new construction, whatever that looks like for you, send us an email, send us a text if you want. Totally up to you. We would love to hear from you. We always love hearing from our clients on YouTube. That is our favorite part of our job. But outside of that, thank you for watching. I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next video on the Living St. Louis channel. Take care.